Hello, wonderful neighbors, and welcome back to another delightful episode of Neighbors Cooking. I'm your host, Chef Mitch, and today we've got something truly special for all. Perfect for these hot summer nights, whether you're hosting an outdoor barbecue or planning a celebration dinner, our recipe today never disappoints. So get ready for creamy corn and pancetta pasta, a dish so delicious you'd never guess it contains no cream at all. And don't be fooled by the name. Instead, we're using this luscious sauce by pureeing fresh summer corn with sauteed garlic and aromatic scallions. The result? A velvety masterpiece that's topped with grated Parmesan, fragrant basil, and even more delectable corn. And here's the best part. You can whip up this crowd-pleasing pasta dish in just 30 minutes. It's quick, it's easy, and oh so satisfying. Looking to add a different protein? We've got you covered. Try incorporating grilled shrimp or chicken for a heartier bite. Need to be gluten-free? Easy. Simply swap out your favorite gluten-free pasta. Just be sure to pick up a shape that hugs our creamy corn sauce and beautifully. Not a fan of basil? No problem. Fresh mint or parsley are equally and just as delightfully substituted. This recipe shines bright when made with fresh corn, especially at the peak of summer. But don't worry if you can't get your hands on fresh cobs. Canned or frozen corn will do the trick. But if you're using canned or frozen corn, you might need a bit more reserved pasta water to replicate that starchy sweet corn milk from fresh cobs. So tie on those aprons and get ready to create a meal that's sure to become a new summertime favorite. Without further ado, let's dive into making our creamy corn and pancetta pasta. Healthy, delicious, and absolutely irresistible. But before we begin, this week we're bringing you a special treat that's bound to spice up your week. Our guest is none other than the dynamic local promoter, Jeff Hocker. Jeff is the creative genius behind some of our community's most beloved events, including the ever-thrilling Downtown Halloween event and the undeniably delicious Palm Springs Food and Wine Festival, of which I am a presenting chef. I can't wait for it. So join us as we dive into Jeff's fascinating journey from orchestrating unforgettable citywide celebrations to his affectionate connection with all things culinary. We'll get an inside look at what's taking place and what he's curating for some of the incredible events that are coming up, and maybe even a few behind-the-scenes stories that have made these gatherings so unique. So without further ado, let's welcome to my kitchen, Jeff Hocker.
Hi, Mitch. How are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you also. Welcome to my house and my kitchen.
A beautiful kitchen. Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. You do so much in our community. How did you get into promoting all of these different events? Like, what was your catalyst?
Oh, well, I'll tell you a little snippet. I'm from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and I was on the board of directors of one of the largest Oscar parties outside of Los Angeles called Academy of Friends. And I really got to know the executive directors of the event, and little by little, they kind of taught me their craft. And I worked on some of the biggest events in San Francisco: Black and White Ball, San Francisco Landscape and Garden Show, San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. So when I came to Palm Springs, I already kind of had the feeling that I wanted to do bigger events down here, because really when I came down here like 22 years ago, there was really not much going on.
Right.
And I worked for the Palm Springs Bureau of Tourism for 4 years, and it was great because I traveled around the world promoting our beautiful desert oasis. And back then, the restaurant scene was just starting to develop. There was some chef-owned restaurants, but not a lot. Now, today, we have so many. Award-winning chefs, Susan Feniger from Alice Bees, Tony DeLimbo from Tropical. He's a Culinary Institute graduate. So, it's very exciting culinary scene.
Well, I know I was honored when you asked me to present last year at your food.
Yeah, it was so great.
Oh my God, I was so honored and so scared and so nervous. I was the first presenter, and it was nerve-wracking because I was followed by Susan Feniger and a lot of other amazing chefs. And so for me, it was like just a dream come true. And it went off so well. I mean, I had a great time.
Well, and when it comes to food and wine festivals, you really want to bring in people who sync together. Last year we had Martin Yan, we had Joe Sasto, Susan Feniger, Tanya Holland, who a lot of people may not know her down here, but she did Brown Sugar Kitchen in Oakland, which was one of the biggest restaurant scenes anywhere in the Bay Area. It's no longer open, but she's done cookbooks and stuff like that. But all of them really enjoyed working together.
Right.
And then I sort of intermixed wineries together, and thank you, and you're coming and you're being part of our event again this
I got
year.
invited again this year, and I'm so
Yay.
excited. And who else is coming this year?
The biggest name, Lydia Bosnich.
Oh my gosh.
Is coming. So we're going to do a lot of Italian cooking. Joe Sasto is coming back. Fan favorite. Everybody loves Joe.
Right.
Dara Yu, who is the youngest to ever win MasterChef. She was like 19 when she won MasterChef. And she also was first runner-up for MasterChef Junior.
Wow.
So she's going to be amazing. And Susan Feniger's coming back. And we've got some other surprises. I don't want to give up everything right now, but yeah, we're very excited about the lineup.
Well, I actually met up with Susan a few weeks ago, and I've asked her to come on, and she's going to work out a schedule to come on the show also.
Awesome.
So I'm so excited about that.
Yay.
It's really neat because I get people like you, I get city leaders, I've got Will Rollins coming on the show.
Oh, very cool.
So Will's coming on the show. If you don't know who Will is, look it up. Google it
and vote.
Absolutely. Well, today we're going to be making a corn pasta with pancetta. So it's a simple, easy recipe, and I'm going to go through all the instructions with everybody in a minute, and I'm going to have you stand here and start to get ready. And this is your cooking station.
All right.
All right. Let's turn that down a little bit. So we're going to head on over to our ingredients, and I'm going to share the ingredients with you and what we've got going in this. So we're starting off with the basis of this is a corn dish. So I took fresh corn and we hocked it, and if you don't know what that is, Hocker, it's perfect, isn't it?
I know, it is perfect.
So corn is in season right now, and it's in abundance, and so you might as well use it. So if when you buy your corn, you're gonna shuck it. Whoops, and I'm going to make a mess. And you're going to pull off all of this, what is called silk on the inside, right? If you don't know what it's called. And,
is that edible?
It is edible, actually, but in different, so in Eastern medicine, they use this for things like a diuretic, for bacteria that are in your urinary tract. And they boil them in water, and they create this not really great tasting juice, but a juice that you can drink. You can also use the silk, and in Eastern cultures, they have corn yarn.
Oh, wow.
So the silk is the basis.
You kind of spin it.
They spin it and turn it into a yarn. So it has...
The husks are great because you can cook it on the barbecue.
You could
save it. If you don't want to cook that on the barbecue, you could save it and use it for something else you want to cook.
You can.
You could wrap fish in it.
Well, you can wrap tamales in corn husks. There's so many things that you can do with them. So it's really very cool. So we're going to take those 5 or 6 ears of corn. We're going to clean them, and then we're going to cut that corn off. And I've already got corn that we've already done because otherwise it's a mess. So we've got all this great corn. Now, in my recipe, I say something about corn milk. And it sounds kind of, I don't know, sounds gross almost. But corn milk actually, when you cut the corn off, if you take the back of your knife and you go down the husk, you get this moisture that spurts all over the place. So you want to do it inside something that's deep once you've cut all the corn off, and you end up with this corn milk, which is part of all this corn solution. So that's what we're doing with that. We're also going to use 3 ounces of diced cooked pancetta. So pancetta is nothing but pork butt, and it's just crispy. It's kind of like bacon. If you don't want to use this, you could use grilled chicken. You could use shrimp. Whatever it is, you're going to cook it in advance. It doesn't have to be hot, but just choose your protein that you like. We're using pancetta right now today. We're also going to use a little bit of kosher salt to taste, some pepper. We've got some lemon juice. We've got some butter. We've got some scallions. So a scallion is not, it is an onion, but it's an underdeveloped, it's a baby onion basically. So you're going to cut that off, and you're going to keep the greens separate from the whites. So wherever the firmness of that onion stops, that's the white part, and the rest is the green part. So we're going to separate those two up and cut them up. We've got lots of garlic. So I'm doubling this recipe because I actually have a studio audience today. So we've got some guests in watching the show and joining us and meeting us for the first time. So we're doubling everything up. There's also some red pepper flakes. If you don't like red pepper, you don't have to add the red pepper, or you can add less, or you can add more if you really like that spiciness. We've got some lemon juice. We've got some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Now,
That's the only way to do it. Don't use it out of the can.
Out of the can, it's old. Out of the ground up, it's old. So, and Parmesan is not the cheese. Parmesan is the type of cheese, and there's a whole lot of different varieties. There's Parmesan Romano, there's Parmesan Reggiano, there's 7 different types of Parmesan.
So have you seen during the Olympics, they have these big wheels of cheese, of Parmesan, and they're actually making the pasta in the Parmesan. It's amazing.
So the wheels of cheese, the Parmesan wheels weigh 84 pounds.
Wow.
A whole wheels. That's more than some 10-year-olds. And some Parmesan is even aged as long as 10 years. The average is 2 years. It goes up to 10 years. There's actually laws in Italy about the manufacture of Parmesan cheese. So it's highly regulated, the way it's done, and the different varieties have different flavors. Some, like regular Parmesan Romano, has more of a nutty flavor. Parmesan cheese can be made with goat's milk, calf's milk, sheep milk. So it all depends on the different, and then it's aged, and it's either aged.
So have you been to the cheese shops in Amsterdam?
I have.
Oh.
Yes.
You walk into these shops and there's these huge wheels of cheese and you can just shave off.
Shave off or take out pieces. Yeah, it's amazing. So there's 7 different varieties. So check out the different varieties. You can go into most of your local grocery stores and buy small slabs. You don't have to buy the big wheel. Yeah. And you can try and see which flavors you like. But, they're amazing and they're delicious. And then we're going to have some fresh basil. So I just buy a basil plant like this. So this creates about a cup of fresh basil leaves for me. And I keep it in a water so that it doesn't go bad. If you put it in your fridge, you don't buy it in the fridge at the grocery store, you don't keep it in the fridge at your house. So just keep it in a little bit of water and you can keep it fresh until you use it all. But the entire plant will give you about a cup. The recipe calls for half a cup, but we're doubling this recipe up today. And then we're using some short pasta. If you don't know what short pasta is, it's like rigatoni or any thicker, heavier pasta that you want that sauce to attach to. And you're going to create that to be al dente. So that's what we're making. So I'm going to start handing you some ingredients.
Okay, let's do it.
So we're going to start off with the olive oil. You're going to put that in. We've already done our pasta, so we've cooked all this pasta in advance. He's going to get that skillet medium hot, and we're going to add in the olive oil. We're going to add in both kinds of scallions. Save a little bit for me for the end. Okay. So take about 2/3. Save some for me.
Oh, save some of the scallion. Okay.
Save some for me.
All right.
Takes direction well. And I'm going to save some of that for the end. All right. And so you're going to let those cook for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to add...
And I don't know about you, but I like all my vegetables al dente.
All vegetables should be al dente.
Yeah.
If you can, if your vegetables move, that is just overcooked.
Too much, yeah.
It also shouldn't make your dentures fall out if you're not eating either. So we're going to add into this since we've got 5 people here today, we're going to add 4 cups. The recipe calls for 2 cups.
All right.
So we're just going to add some of that in. There we go. And we're going to let that stir for about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to give you a little bit more, and we're going to soften up because we're going to end up pureeing all of that. So when that's all nice and soft, we're going to put it into that blender, and we're going to blend it. So what made you decide to bring the Food and Wine Festival to Palm Springs? This is the 2nd year.
Yeah, well, it actually started about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And in our first year, we had some really amazing chefs. We had Roy Yamaguchi. We had Bradley Ogden, who owns many restaurants in the Bay Area. And, it was just at the point where I don't think the time was right. And so when I went to Palm Springs Life, I said, hey, why don't we join together and let's do an event with Fashion Week. And so I created the Palm Desert Food and Wine Festival.
Oh, so that was yours in Palm Desert.
Yeah, I created that.
I just thought you were in competition.
No. So then, you brought up Halloween. So about 4 years into it, I started doing a lot of my own events. I started doing Halloween. I started doing the Palm Springs Health Run and Wellness Festival. And, it got to the point where I was just doing too many things. But then everybody kept saying to me, bring it back, bring it back. Palm Springs is the namesake. Everybody wants to come to Palm Springs. And what I tell people, who does not want to be in Palm Springs in November?
Right.
The weather's perfect. We're in the Palm Springs Stadium, so we have panoramic views of the entire San Jacinto mountain range.
Yep. Well, that's where we used to have Pride a million years ago.
I know. Well, both. It was both stadiums.
Yes. Yeah, we used to do Pride, the festival, in the stadium, and then the parade downtown, and then it just got to be too big. And now it's in the perfect place, I think.
Oh, yeah, downtown,
Yes.
where everybody can enjoy it free.
Yeah, we're one of the only prides that are free in the country still. And we bring in 150,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. How many people come to Food and Wine last year?
We had probably about 2,000 people.
That's a good
over
number.
2 days.
Over 2 days.
You know, when you're bringing something back, there's a lot of comps that are involved with that because of your sponsors and stuff. But actually, ticket sales are really, really strong this year. So we encourage everybody, if they want to buy tickets, go to PalmSpringsFoodAndWine.org and buy them now.
Okay, so
because we will limit how many people.
PalmSpringsFoodAndWine.org. Get your tickets. You can come see me present, and all the other amazing chefs that are way beyond me. But
well, we're waiting for your cookbook, so you can sign. And
I'm working on a cookbook. I've been doing it for 10 years now, but it's actually taking them and putting them into a process of concept and how you deliver those
well,
recipes.
And it takes time because you got to do photography.
Yes.
You got to make sure the recipes
Yes.
are right. Because if everybody's following your lead, you want to make sure it's done right.
Right. Yeah. So when I was in the favorite chef competition last year, this was one of the pictures actually from that.
Yeah.
So I had photographers come in and they were taking pictures as I was cooking, and it was really a lot of fun, but a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
It really is.
So it was kind of the catalyst for my show actually starting to take off. So because I had done the show 3 years before that event, before the competition, and then that competition just brought me this whole new base of people. So it was really a lot of fun. So we've got that. It seems like it's
doing really well. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take that and we're going to put that into here. So there's an extra towel there if you need it.
Okay.
This has a silicone.
All right.
Do you think you can get it in there, or do you want a spoon?
Oh, yeah, I can do it.
All right. So you sharpen knives too.
Well, yeah. Let me do this first.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you about that. So yeah, my very first job that I did, I was a fish and poultry butcher.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for 6 years. I did it in high school, which was a great job to have in high school. You know, I got paid really well. And, you know, I was the first one of any of my friends that had a car because I was the first one who had a job. I started working at 15 and a half. I started working as a butcher. Of course, you go and you get trained and everything.
Right.
It was kind of cool because one of my bosses was French and the other one was Italian. So I got this influence between the two of them about how to cook. You know, at 16 years old, I was working the counter and I was telling people how to pair their wine with the food they were buying. And they're like, how do you know? And it's like, well, you know.
One of the shows I want to do is a food pairing with a wine with the V Lounge, I think, is what we're working on.
Great.
Have them come in and talk about how you pair food to wine, because it is a talent.
Yeah.
And not all wines go with all things. So we've got in the blender here now, we've got this rice and this green onion that we made, and I saved a little bit of my pasta water from earlier. And we're going to pour some of that in there, and that's just to help create this amazing sauce that we're going to make. And I'm going to put it on the blender for just a minute, so excuse the noise, everybody.
Yeah, so having that job really gave me the vision to really spend my life in food and wine. The other thing people don't know about me is that I actually have a degree in mixology.
Do you really?
I went to professional bartending school in San Francisco.
God.
So I know how to make chichis and pina coladas and mai tais and all that kind of stuff.
I think we need to come up with a signature drink for Pride.
Let's do that.
I think we should have a signature drink that people can buy at Pride that's pre-mixed, and we should come up with a Pride drink. So we've got our sauce made, so we're going to put that back in to our pan over here. If you want to pull that up.
All right.
So look, it looks like a cream sauce. And I'm going to give it a little, whoops, sorry. Oh my God, that's so good. That is really, really delicious. Here, have a taste.
Wow.
Isn't that good?
Yeah,
And it's
you would
just
never
corn
expect there
and
was
onions,
that much
right?
flavor.
Just corn and onions. So into this, we're going to add our garlic.
Okay.
Lots of garlic.
Lots of garlic. You can never have too much garlic.
Never have too much garlic. We're going to add a little bit of lemon juice. And you're going to continue to blend that together. Now, this isn't going to be creamy like a cream sauce that you would find in Alfredo sauce. It's going to have a little bit of texture to it.
Right.
I suppose if you blended it long enough, you might get a super creamy sauce. I kind of like the texture in it, and it helps to cling on to the noodles, especially. That's why we're using these bigger noodles, because it'll go on the inside, and it'll fill it up, and it'll be simply delicious. The other thing we're going to add is some butter into this.
I think that's the other thing you can't have too much of.
Never.
I always watch chefs making steaks, and they're always like scooping the butter on top of the
Tons
steak.
of butter on top of it. It never ends. That is so true. And then the other thing we're going to add into that is our Parmesan. Fresh Parmesan. There we go. We're just going to get that melting.
And that really provides the texture that you need.
It does. And then we're going to add in some of our basil. Now it says to break the basil, which means you're not cutting it up in little dices, you're just breaking pieces into it.
Well, and the flavor explodes.
The flavor explodes from that, right. There we go. And then the last thing we're going to add into that is the pancetta.
So I would imagine you could use pork belly too.
Well, it is pork belly. I said pork butt, but it is pork belly. Just got my sides wrong. So if it's not creamy enough, you could add a little bit more of the pasta water into it.
Yeah.
And I think that looks pretty creamy. Oh my God. That is
delish.
So delish.
Okay, we have to try it.
So I am going to put a bowl together for you, sir, and you're going to take the first bite and you're going to do it right into this camera.
All right.
So
and every chef should be tasting their food as they cook.
Absolutely. There's no other way to not do it. All right. All right. Oh,
I'm probably going to need a spoon, though.
Forgot my red pepper flakes. There's a spoon in that drawer.
Okay.
There you go.
Actually, let's do this one. Let's stir up the flakes a little bit so you don't get a big mouthful of flakes.
Of hot. Now you can also put this all in over the pasta and stir it all together if you wanted to. There we go.
There we go.
All right. I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan to the top. A couple of scallions. And a little bit of lemon. Take out the seed. And there you have
Voila! Bravissimo!
So let's get
How do they say it in French? Does anybody know?
Say, I don't know. There we go. So you're going to take a test right into that camera.
Look at that.
Look how fabulous that is.
Delicious. Mmm.
Isn't that good?
Outstanding.
And so easy to make.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is this is under 600 calories.
Well, and like you said, there's no cream.
No cream. No cream. So this is all corn. So you're getting a little bit extra starch, but it's really delicious. You like it?
I love it.
Well, thank you. I want to thank you for coming on the show and being part of our community for all the things that you do. You do an outstanding job. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and I love working with you. It's great. Yeah.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We do. So I'm looking forward to coming to the Food and Wine Festival. That's the website again is
PalmSpringsFoodandWine.org.
Get your tickets. Come and see me present. And as always, please follow us, click on us, like us, follow us on Facebook, YouTube. There's just too much. But I love all of you. Thank you for following us. Thank you for making the recipes. And we'll see you next week in the kitchen. Have a great week. Bye.